A little over 2 years ago, my layout looked like this. As you can see, there was no sky or photographic backdrop on the upper level. There was no scenery, there was no town or railroad yard. Today, that same area of my layout looks like this. The town you now see on the upper level represents Green River, Wyoming. And as before, the staging tracks on the lower level represent Cheyenne, Wyoming to the east and Ogden, Utah to the west. Hi, I'm Roy Smith, and behind me is my N-scale Union Pacific Evanston subdivision layout. In this video, I plan to show you how I created the town of Green River on my layout. You will see the extent to which I was influenced by the prototype. Okay, let's get started. Here's a closer view of the town and yard at Green River. You might be thinking, hey, that doesn't look like Green River. It looks like downtown Laramie, some 225 miles to the east. You would be right. At first, I tried to create something resembling the prototype, but it turned out to be a disaster. So instead, I used the fronts, or in some cases the sides, of DPM kits to build Green River. DPM kits do look a lot like downtown Laramie. So the town on my layout may not look like the prototype, but I am happy with the results. Here's what Green River really looks like. Credit for this aerial view goes to SAR Unit 63. He uses a drone to film the area in and around Green River, and his YouTube videos are the best anywhere on the internet. I encourage you to take a look at them. I'll post a link to his channel in the comments section below. Alright, I've sent up a drone to film the area from the pedestrian bridge at the west end of the yard to the highway bridge at the east end of the yard. I should mention that the former Amtrak station that you see on my layout is still a mock-up. Almost 50 trains pass through Green River every day. Here's one now, a westbound train with empty covered hoppers headed to the Trona mines and the processing plants some 20 miles or so west of Green River. Here's how I prepared the structures for my layout. First, I removed any sprues and flashing. Then I glued 1/4 inch wide styrene strips on the back as you see here. Doing this allowed me to create low relief buildings rather than simply attaching the building fronts to the backdrop as flats. There's only 5 inches between the main line east and the backdrop. Even in N scale, 5 inches wouldn't be enough space to use complete building kits along with the street. So I went with low relief buildings. Low relief buildings give a greater sense of depth to the town than would simple building flats. I don't plan to add lighting to my structures at the present time, and I'm not even sure how much space I would need inside the buildings to add lighting later on. Finally, I painted the buildings using an airbrush and micro brushes. I installed acetate inside to create the effect of glass windows, and I glued black poster board on the back so that you can't look through the windows and see the photo backdrop or anything else that may be behind the buildings. Before placing the buildings on the layout, I installed sidewalks for the town. I used this evergreen sheet styrene for sidewalks. I cut it in strips 3 squares wide, glued it on the layout, and painted it a concrete color. And here you see the sidewalk and some of the structures in place. In some of the structures, I used masking tape in the windows to create the appearance of window blinds. To create the street, I applied a very thin coat of spackling paste on top of the cork. The street has not yet been sanded and painted. And here the street is both sanded and painted. To paint the street, I used Woodland Scenic's asphalt top coat, which I subsequently toned down with several coats of very diluted white acrylic paint. Then I applied the white and yellow lines to the street using graphic chart tape. Several streets seemed to disappear in the distance. I created this effect using actual photographs of street scenes in Laramie. I printed them out on photo paper after scaling them down to size. I cut the sky out of the photos and glued them to the backdrop and buildings on either side of the intersections. I've also made some progress on other projects in this area of my layout. Here you can see that I've scenicked around the footings of the pedestrian bridge. I've also begun to build a fuel storage facility which services the refueling area. On the prototype, there's a grassy area adjacent to the former Amtrak station. I'm recreating this grassy area on my layout. I will soon install an iron fence and several pine trees in the grassy area, like the prototype. First, though, I have to redo the grass because the color of turf I used is too dark. I want to use a much lighter, late summer color like the grass in these two prototype photos. Finally, I've done some scenicking on both the north and south sides of the yard. I've used Woodland Scenic's earth tone pigments to do this. I still need to apply some vegetation, similar to that which appears on the south side of the yard in this prototype photo. All right, let's wrap up this video by watching a mixed freight heading east. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to post any comments you may have in the comments section below, because one of the best things about this hobby is the way we model railroaders get to share our knowledge and experience with each other.